Hi crafty friends. Welcome to day 5 of December Daily. I have a ton of stuff on my desk again. And today's process is one of those, at least I think, it's one of those projects that's the opposite of what I did yesterday, in that the actual assembling of it shouldn't take too long, but the back end work took me forever. And that has nothing to do with the actual things I did and everything to do with me not knowing how to use Photoshop and me pretending I know how to use Photoshop and then me attempting to do a bunch of things in Photoshop. So here's what I had as far as foundation pages for day 5. So again, as I flip through, there's process videos for everything so far. So if you see something you want to see, oh, here we go. Here's how the advent calendar looks now, by the way, now that I've glued everything down. So it's just these envelopes that are moving and the rest of them are stuck. So here's what I had for day 5. All I had was this. I had this page that has that quote from Einstein: there are only 2 ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. And I had my little hexagon book. And I knew I wanted to do gratitude journaling. And I said this in my foundation pages. One of my favorite things to do is have repetitive themes and elements across the years. And so having 5 things I'm grateful for on day 5 is a story that I normally tell. Now, because day 4 ended up being 3 pages, I had to figure out a way to fill up the back side of day 4. So I went in my silhouette, and I'm having way too much fun with the foil quill, and I foiled a hexagon background. So this is how the spread's gonna look. And then, to get ready, I cut a bunch of hexagons that are going to fit here. They'll fit in here. I have no idea how I'm going to embellish it. All I know is I have, the hexagons, and I have this. So that's what I have to fill this page up. And if you can't already tell, I'm going to be talking through this one. Part of the reason I'm going to talk through this is because there's not anything technically difficult where it's going to take me too long. The longest part of it is just going to be assembling the pages. So I'm going to probably walk you through assembling one and then do the rest and come back and show you how it all works out, because it's just going to be a bunch of me gluing over and over. So the other thing is I was playing with the digitals for the gratitude story kit. If you aren't subscribed to Ali Edwards, November was gratitude journaling, and so I have a bunch of digitals from the gratitude story kit, and I use that to create the basis of my spread. So I played with the gratitude digital, and so I'm going to be perfectly upfront. My Photoshop work is not the best. I will not pretend to be a Photoshop whiz by any stretch of the imagination, but I had an idea to do gratitude journaling on these hexagons, and these are sized to fit. These are sized to fit in here like that. So I had an idea to do gratitude journaling on the hexagons, and then I have a photo to go with each story. So it's going to be like that. And then I also cut some vellum, and so full disclosure, I'm having way too much fun playing with the foil quill. So this was a stamp from the kit, and I don't know how well the foil is going to pick up. I'm just going to throw it all over the desk. I don't know how well the foil is going to pick up, but it says focus on the good, repeating, and then it says love this. And because I had foiled this page, I thought it'd be fun to have a foiled element on this page. So I'm going to assemble these, stick them in here, and then go from there. I'm going to use some brads to have my little swivel situation work, and we'll see what happens. So again, this is not a spread that I think is hard to put together. The hardest part was making it happen in Photoshop, because that was not fun. I had this misconception that it was going to take me 5 minutes, and then it ended up taking me an hour. So full disclosure, if you attempt to do this, I hope your Photoshop skills are better than mine. I wouldn't even pretend to record a Photoshop tutorial, because that would be a waste of my time and a waste of yours, because you wouldn't learn anything and you guys would just watch me struggle for however long it took. So I'm going to punch this. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to punch this right in the center. So I stacked all 3 of my cards and I punched this right in the center, and then I'm going to add a brad and put that like that. So the idea is that's going to swivel like that, and then that will swivel, and then you can read the journaling. So the 5 things that I was grateful for. I was grateful for my husband Joshua, for my kittens Astoria and Minerva, for my one little word, which was connect, for time crafting. So this is just a selfie I took in my craft area, and for the 3 best friends, and I cut Caroline's face off a little bit. She's gonna beat me up. But my 3 best friends that I made in the nursing program. So also, I'm so grateful for you guys, because sometime overnight I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And that's been a goal that that's always been a goal that I've had. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of amazing that it happened. And I owe it 100% to you guys. And I wanted one of my stories to be being grateful for this community, but I think I'm going to save that for another day. But the fact that you guys come back every day and you leave these comments and you share your stories with me, and you just like encourage me to keep going and to keep being bold and to keep sharing. And so on day 5, which is when I'm documenting gratitude, I'm grateful for you guys. And I just want you to know that, like, I'm endlessly grateful for you, and I appreciate all of you. So here we go. Here's how that looks. And that works out really well. So here, I'll read you my journaling to Joshua. So it says, Dear Joshua, to my husband, to my sun and stars, to the partner I've chosen to go down this adventure with, you have taught me grace and resilience and hope. I am grateful for the way you love me, for the kind of man you have become, for the way you take care of me, for always doing the dishes, for never complaining about making dinner after a long day, for always making sure my scrubs were clean for clinical, for the way you love me, for being my biggest fan and my greatest supporter, for learning my love language and always telling me you were proud of me, for showing up whenever I called, for pretending to learn nursing terminology just to make me laugh, and for the way you love me. La la love you, which is something I say to people all the time. Like I say, I la la love you all the time. And I thought it'd be fun to have that repeating in my stories. So the way I'm just going to keep working while I talk to you guys. The way I structured my journaling is I wrote a letter, so I phrased it as a dear so-and-so, and then I started it with whatever the thing that I'm writing the letter to has taught me. And I'm just using my crocodile to punch the holes. The crocodile punches really small holes, and it's a really powerful punch, so I was pretty confident that it would punch through all 3 of these layers pretty easily. So yeah, so I wrote a lesson that I've learned, and then I wrote what I was grateful for. So here we go. Here's the one of my cats. And I'm just going to put this, love this, right here. That's not centered, so there we go. So here, this one says, Dear Minerva and Astoria, you have taught me patience and how to take care of something smaller than myself, and how to nurture and how to love in a way that was new and kind of scary and oh so fun. I am grateful for your meows, for the cuddles, for the purrs, for the way you two seem to love me extra when something is wrong, for meeting me at the door, for never holding a grudge, even after I have to spray you, because these girls are naughty, for playing and playing and playing, for catching all the bugs, and for the endless company on the late nights. La la love you. And you'll see in the photos that I trimmed this a little bit too close to the edge. And again, that's just me. That's just me messing up. Like I take full responsibility for that. But I love this. I love how interactive this is. Okay, so I'm just going to keep working. So yeah, I started everything with lessons, and it was really fun to do a mix of people and, I mean, my cats are people, so it was fun to do a mix of people and inanimate objects. I thought it was fun to vary the journaling just because I like writing letters. The other challenge I had was to make sure that these letters were small enough to fit on these hexagons, and being perfectly honest, I had to edit down a lot of them. Once I sized them in Photoshop, I literally had to take out whole sentences. And that's just me being wordy as usual, me not knowing, when enough is enough. And I really wanted to it was a fun challenge to make sure it fit on these cards. So here's a letter I wrote to crafting. So I wrote, Dear Crafty Time, you have taught me to experiment, to try new things, to go big and loud and bold, to make and dig deep and explore and create. I am grateful for our time together, for the joy in the making, for the way you fill me up, for the way you center and ground me, for the way you help me make friends and build bonds that cross time zones and seas and oceans, for the way you meet me bright and early Sunday morning, for the color and the light and the black and the white and the dark and everything in between, for the risks you tempt me to take, and for the magic we build together. La la, love you. And I love having continuity, that's the word. I love having repeating elements and continuity in my albums. I always tell a story on day 5 of things I'm grateful for. And typically Joshua pops up on the list. Last year the cats popped up on the list because that was the first year we had them. And we brought the cats home when they were about 13 weeks old. So they were babies, and we brought them home last summer, and last Christmas with the cats was an adventure because I was convinced they were going to take my Christmas tree down. So the stories are sometimes the same, and they change because my interaction, even if I write a letter to Joshua about what I'm grateful for each year, my interaction with him changes. My interactions with the cats change as they get older. So my one little word last year, well, still this year because it's still 2019, was connect. So I wrote, "Dear Connect, you have encouraged me to be brave and to be vulnerable and to be open and to try again. I am grateful for each and every connection, whether new and fresh or old and deep, for the names and faces that keep popping up in my YouTube inbox, for the DMs on Instagram that turned into long conversations about life, love, and the state of the universe, for rebuilding and repairing breaches, for FaceTime calls with my sister after barely speaking for months, for the way you taught me how to tie threads into webs and webs into nets and bind myself to others in them, for the courage you gave me to live this life extravagantly, openly, graciously, and joyously. La la, love you." And that last sentence is actually taken pretty much word for word from my journaling about my one little word last year. I like to include a little bit about my one little word in my December daily album just because we're setting up for the new year. And so it's a good place to write about finding it. I've already said this, I think I shared this on Instagram, but my one little word for next year, I am deciding between open or invite, just because my life is changing so much, you guys. Like, I'm graduating from school, I'm going to be looking for a new job. Things are just going to be different next year, and I want to make sure that I'm open and receptive to it. So I'm trying to decide, and when I do decide, that's going to go in my album. And I've had my one little word in my album from the beginning, so I think it'll be fun to, again, have a repeating theme. So these are my girls. That's Soli, Yesenia, and Caroline. And I realized after I printed this that I printed their names a little too close to the top compared to the rest of these, but going back and fixing it would have taken me longer. So I just wrote, "Dear Caroline and Solmaz and Yesenia, to the sisters of my heart, what can I say to the women who have held me up on my worst days, loved me through the hardest of it, celebrated all my successes, and taught me how to be a friend? I am grateful for our bond forged by trial, for the bubble tea dates, for the midnight study sessions, for the drinks on the hard nights, for the drinks on the best nights, for listening when I needed to vent, for being interested in the things I'm interested in, for the phone calls and text messages, for always knowing when something is wrong and knowing whether to step back or to push, and for crossing this finish line with me. La la, love you." So here are my 5 things that I'm grateful for. And honestly, I'll show you something. So here's what I do for December Daily. I have a note, like an ongoing list of page ideas and story ideas on my phone. And as I was at work, I just kept adding things that I wanted to add to this page. It was literally just gonna be the journaling. And then I was like, well, wouldn't it be fun to add a photo? And then I was like, well, wouldn't it be fun to add more foil? And it turned into this monster. But now that it's all completed, you guys, I cannot. So here's how it's gonna work. I'm gonna lay it in just like this, and I'm going to stick it in, and I'm gonna go off camera to stick this in because I'm gonna have to have my head in it to make sure they're centered. And so I have these 2 extra cards. So here's what I did. This was a card from this is a gratitude card. It's 4x6. I sized it down and put it in the hexagon clipping mask that I used to do the same thing. Oh, that's the other thing I did. I made a clipping mask. Again, I don't know how to use Photoshop, so I had to Google it, and I watched a bunch of tutorials. So yeah, I'm not going to pretend to tell you how I did that. But I made the clipping mask that was sized to fit in here. And then this was a stamp, Be Obsessively Grateful, and I loved the sentiment. So that's going to live right up here. And I realized that when I stuck down my cover, it's not straight. And I think I'm going to go back and trim that off because it's going to bother me that it's not straight. So I'm going to attach all of this to here, and then I'll come back. and then we'll pick up from there. That's what I'll do. So I'm gonna go off, glue all this stuff together, and come back. Okay, friends, so I'm back. So I have put everything in the mini, and you guys, I just, I keep staring at it because it just makes me so, like, the vision, like, look, it's just so fun, and it's, interactive elements will just get me every time. So I am going to, you know, I promised myself I wouldn't fuss with folding this back on camera, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just fuss with folding this back. So I fold it back differently every single time. So sometimes the pages fold back a little bit nicer than other times. So let's see if this is going to cooperate. Okay, so that looks like that. And it is a chunky beast. There we go. So it doesn't fold back super nicely because I have made it really chunky and dimensional, but I don't know. I like dimension, so who cares? Okay, and now it's in the pocket, and that's how it's gonna sit. And you see it's pretty dimensional, which this is me we're talking about, so I'm not afraid of dimension. And now I'm just gonna work on this side. Now I have my small hexagons. So, and this was actually a free cut file, you guys. Like, I did not pay for this. This was a free cut file. I was searching for foil quill designs, and this popped up, and I was like, yeah, I kind of need this in my life. So it was actually, if I remember correctly, let's see if I remember correctly. I don't remember what size it was, but I ended up sizing it down and repeating it so it would fit on a 6x8, and then I cut it with rose gold foil. So here we go. So I have this fun hexagons. I'm going to put this in the center, and then I have a bunch of all the small embellishments, so I could do that. The other thing I wanted to do is this Thankful clear piece was from the gratitude kit, and I'm going to staple it to my 5. And hopefully I can find, I did find it. I was like, hopefully I can find my tiny attacher and I don't embarrass myself by looking for my stuff for 10 minutes because I don't know where anything is. So there we go. It's stapled. It's pretty stationary, and then I'm gonna glue the 5 down so because I struggle with gluing acetate pieces. I probably should have done this before I turned the recording back on, because I was just like, I don't want you to have to watch me glue stuff, and now you're gonna have to watch me glue stuff. Ugh. All right, hopefully I'll make this quick. Okay, so I'm back. So I lied, and I actually went and glued that off because it was taking me, like, I felt like I was pressured. And I was like, no one's going to want to watch me glue stuff down forever and a day. So I disappeared. Okay, but I came back. And so the papers I use, these are all this is a Merry Days paper. It's Snowflake. This is Snowflake, this is Snowflake, and this is Snowflake. And this had like the pinks and the greens, so I thought it'd be fun to repeat these colors. And then the best part is the gratitude story kit has pinks and greens also, so when you open it up, it just looks super fun together. So here's this, here's that, and then all that's left to do is embellish. And I'm going to have to figure out the fine line between over embellishing and that sweet spot, I guess. So I really want to put something on every color, even though I don't have to. So I really want to use this green star, but I don't have any, like, I don't want to put it on green. So I guess I'm not going to use this because otherwise it would hang off. Okay, I'm not going to use this. Should I use this? I'm not going to use this tree because that's not a tree story. So never mind. I'm not using any of those. I will use one of these fun mirrored stars. So the small mirrored stars came in the main kit. And then there was a pack of them as an attitude for the gratitude kit. And I said yesterday that chipboard stars were my love language. What I meant to say is all stars are my love language. And so I was like, yes, absolutely, Allie, I need more stars. And then there are these fun cork shapes, which I think might be a good texture. So I have these out. So let's see, let's get some of these out. I think if there are 2 hearts, I might use the 2 hearts. So let's see if there are hearts in here. Come out. Okay, so there are 2 hearts. So I think what I might do, since I have those 2 stars, is repeat those 2 hearts like that. What else do I have? I have these wood phrases And if there's one small enough, actually this Joy, that makes me so happy. Oh my God. I'm sorry that you're having to listen to me squeal, but you guys are watching this happen in real time. Like I had the vision, if you could tell by the thing I had on that I showed you on my phone, but like as far as execution goes, no idea. So the fact that this is working out, I think that green heart looks really good, and I might trim off the excess green, and yeah, I think I like that green heart. So do I want to put any more of these clear hearts since I'm doing repeating? Is there a pink one? Is this pink? What color is this? Ah, this is a pink. Okay. So I might do, but I already have a heart here. So I might put this green heart up here and then put this pink heart right there. There we go. I like that a lot. So I just got to find something to put here and here, and then that will be this page done. So excuse me while I go rifle through my stash of embellishments, and I'll be right back. Okay friends, so I'm back, and if this looks a little bit differently than it did right before I disappeared, it's because I forgot that I have to punch holes in this. This isn't going, like, obviously it's not going in a page protector, it's gonna live like this. So I had to punch holes. So I had to reconfigure a little bit, like pretty much the big items are the same, but I had to move things around a little bit. But that's day 5. And I love it so much. So here we go. So this is how it's gonna look in the album. I'm gonna attach this to the back side of my advent calendar. And then here it is. So actually, I'm gonna do that now while I do my like final thoughts thing that I normally do. So I'm gonna grab my advent calendar page, and this is a downside of having interactive elements is you gotta open your album carefully. But can we talk about how like, this is just, I don't know. So I shared this on Instagram today, and you guys loved it on YouTube, and people loved it on Instagram, and so many people are like, I need to scrap lift this. And let this be, okay, well, this is gonna be my blanket disclaimer and my policy on scrap lifting. Do it. You don't ever have to ask me for permission. You don't ever have to go, hey, is it okay if I recreate this layout? Let's consider that if I'm sharing it on the internet, I'm doing it because I want to inspire you, and because I want you to make stuff, and I want you to document your December, and I want you to love it. And so I'm out of tape. So scrap lift away. So yeah, if you are scrap lifting, I'm so noisy today, I'm so sorry. If you are scrap lifting, my Instagram handle is @PrecisellyTashi. Tashi is what my friends call me, and you guys are friends, so call me Tashi. Tashi is what my friends call me, and Precisely Tashi is the name of my like YouTube channel. It's my blog header. It's pretty much like me across the universe of the internet. So yeah, if you do decide to recreate anything I make, please tag me. If you share on Instagram, if you don't share, but you want to like DM me, that is okay too. Don't ever be afraid to slide into my DMs, because I love if you couldn't tell by like how excited I get when you guys comment, hold on, I cannot multitask right now, and these envelopes are flopping everywhere. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to like, I probably should have waited to put these pages together before I punched the holes. And that's going to be a lesson. So they are not going to line up evenly, but they'll line up close enough that it will still be able to go in the album. And this has a tiny bit of overhang, and that's going to drive me nuts. So I think I'm going to trim that after I stop recording, because that overhang's going to drive me crazy. So you see, my holes aren't super even, but it's enough that'll work. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So if you see me make something and I'm sharing it and I'm teaching you guys how to do it, scrap lift away. And if you are scrap lifting, please share with me. If you don't feel comfortable sharing your work, for social media, slide into my DMs and show me what you're making, because part of why I share my process is not only because I like talking to you guys and I like that people in the internet care about what I have to say and they listen to me, but also when I first started memory keeping, I learned from YouTube. I learned from watching other makers and lifting and scrap lifting until I figured out what my style was. So if, recreating something I've made helps inspire you and get your story told, then go ahead and do it. So you guys, here's how day 5 looks, and it is, I love it so much. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this chit chat style video. When I did it on day 3, a lot of you guys said you enjoyed like the real-time process because it felt like you were hanging out with a friend, which, you guys, I am your friend. I hope you feel that. Like, I hope you get that vibe that hanging out with me is like hanging out with your friends. But I kind of just wanted to do this in real time and show you guys how it could work out. So real quick, one last time. Also, see, I had that mirrored star, which is why I put it there. So one last time, here's how this looks open. So it looks like that. And then here is the rest of my spread. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. You guys are leaving me the sweetest comments, and I am spoiled. So I don't want to say I expect comments, but if you enjoyed this, like, comment, and subscribe. Share it if you feel like sharing. Scrap lift if you feel like scrap lifting. I probably should have told you where I got this. Let's do some housekeeping. This is a cut file from Paige Evans. It's her hexagon mini album cut file. You can find it in the Silhouette store. I cut it the exact same size it was supposed to be. I didn't resize it or anything. So you cut it on 112 by 12 sheet of cardstock, and then I filled it. So if you decide you want to recreate something like this, that's what I used. And so the gold, I was worried about the mixed metallics, but the gold and the gold and the rose gold and the rose gold just work. So now I'm done for real. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting every single day. I am endlessly grateful for you guys and for the family and for the community we're building together. And happy day 5, friends, and happy December daily season. And I will see you guys tomorrow.